Welcome to Kicks Gaming. This is Papa Kicks. According to the tier list I found, Aspen is a measly B+ overall and an A- for early game players. Let's see what this list has to say about him. Awkward and underwhelming. Unfortunately for Aspen, most Airborne focused content has very few ground platforms, making him difficult to use to full effect. He is also very dependent on having a Piercer Lord due to his relatively short attack range for an anti-air focused hero. Ouch. That is completely unfair and not even close to how good he is. For early players, Aspen is absolutely an S+. Let's look at why. First off, he's melee with an extended range, so he can do things many melee heroes cannot. Things like kill the boss before it even reaches you. He can also stand behind a defender for even more survivability and extra DPS when there aren't enough tiles. He also has an anti-air bonus, making him fantastic in Gear Raid 3 and a great addition for anti-air teams. He almost always does more damage than my marksman. His attack hits multiple targets in a line, making him great for quasi-AoE. To show how versatile he is, let's see how he does in each mode. In Gear Raid 1, I don't have a lot of good AoE mages, so he still does really well. The fact that his range is so big and he's hitting all targets in a line means he's pulling his weight when I don't have better units. He definitely drops off at later levels, but in early game, still fantastic. In Gear Raid 2, despite not being a defender, his survivability is just fine. And with that range, he's attacking the boss long before the boss gets to the front line. When this tile is removed in later levels, he's not as useful, but we've still cleared 12 raids with him. If that doesn't count as early, what does? Mawbucket realizes his potential in Gear Raid 3 and gives him an A+ for this fight, his best score for any mode. I'm really surprised that he didn't get S+ in this raid considering there are melee tiles, at least at the level I'm playing. And again, he outdamages all of my other marksmen. What about Guild Boss? Top damage. Single Target Arena. Top damage. AoE Arena. Top damage until I pulled Vierna, but he's still my chosen tank for this fight. Anti-Air Arena. Top damage. Artifact Raid. He's a beast. He controls his own lane and is easily the best damage on the boss. Cold Raid. XP Raid. Great choice until you get better units. Faction Trial. Controlling his lane and kicking butt while doing so. What about the promotion raids? Marksman. Look at this. This is Extreme 2. He's just kicking butt out here while the rest of the marksmen are just cleaning up the trash. How good is he? I'm in the top 10 teams on my server, with almost half the battle points than they have. What about mages? You don't need a tank for this fight, so using him and still being able to attack from a distance is great. I don't have to worry about that side of the battle, and I can focus my DPS where it matters more. Endurance. Up until Extreme 2, he was a rock star. He could tank as well as anyone and could kill multiple lanes. The rest was just the healers keeping up. It wasn't until Extreme 2 that he needed to step out of the spotlight. And that was only because he only stops 2 monsters in his path instead of 3 like most defenders. I'll be making a video about this fight in particular to show how crazy it was, but you can still see him as an important part of the team. Melee? Do I even need to say it? The ability to hit all enemies in the lane is enormous. He leads the team in DPS every single time. I'm still working out the kinks of my Extreme 2 strategy, but for now, he will still be the center of my strategy for this fight. Campaign. For every single fight since I pulled him, he is my main tank and often the best DPS. He's still my best unit on Hard Chapter 7. He's still being used on Expert Chapter 2, and he carried me the entire time through normal campaign. I use him in virtually every fight in this game where allowed, and he pulls his weight every single time. Will I replace him in some of these fights when I pull an S-tier unit for that fight? Of course. But is he still the best unit I have? By a long shot. Not because he's S-tier in every mode, but because he's not bad in any of them. He's a jack of all trades and a master of some. Mawbucket, I think you need to reconsider Aspen's early game rating. If he isn't an S tier, I don't know what is. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. Papa kicks out.